How is your level 300 treating you so far?
Stressful.
Madam, especially your course is actually very stressful because
Really? Somebody is saying something. He said my course is very stressful. Why?
yes, madam.
Yes.
Tell
Yes,
me.
Every day, even the group work, sometimes I don't understand. Madam.
Oh, one at a time.
Assignment upon assignment.
One at a time.
One at a time.
The lady who started speaking, what's your name?
Barbara and Josephine. Barbara.
Baba. Okay, Baba. Talk to me. Barbara.
Yes.
Yes.
Madam, sometimes the group work, I don't understand. When I go and sit there with my group members, I don't know, I can read the story, but I don't understand anything they are doing over there. Madam, it's true.
I want to understand something. Is it
everything?
The group, is it the group relationship?
Oh no, madam, my group
you are
relationship
supposed to do, or it is in relation to the assignment itself?
Madam, the assignment itself and the whole course.
You don't understand the whole course.
Yes.
Madam, we do a bit. Madam, is the mother courage story we don't understand.
That one.
Yes.
Oh.
You read,
Madam, and the deadline also, the deadline.
You see, I have created a forum discussion labeled questions.
Okay.
Have you seen it at forum?
Okay. Yes.
I intentionally did that. It is there. It is there. It is your responsibility to make sure that you scan the entire Sakai page as pertains to the course and know what is available to you and what you can do when you encounter problems. Because you are not supposed to just go through the course, even though you don't understand, you just keep going. No, that's not the aim here. It is very important that you understand what you are doing. Because my hope is to be able to empower you to be able to do analysis, independent analysis. When you pick up a play and read it, you should be able to know how to dissect it and how to make sense of it. And so you're not supposed to just, Barbara, you weren't supposed to just continue with it even though you didn't understand. You were supposed to seek help. My TA is also on the Sakai page and you have his WhatsApp. You could get in touch with the TA to guide you and then use the forum questions to write to me directly about your challenges and how many of you have actually watched the videos and to gain understanding in order to now relate what I have taught in the videos to the plays you're reading. Sometimes you just pick up the play and you are reading the play, trying to understand it. Meanwhile, even A Doll's House, I had already even done the given circumstances for you. That is why I think I labeled it in the description as a bonus video. You see, I said it's a bonus because what I want you to do with all the other plays, I did it as an example for you to see how to go about it. Or you didn't get that sense in the video.
Madam, we did.
And so Barbara and is it Josephine? Barbara and who? The other lady.
No, I'm not part.
Madam Josephine.
Barbara and Josephine.
Barbara is alone. She's on her own.
Hey, so Josephine, you have abandoned her.
It's okay. I'm in this alone. Madam, I'm in this alone.
It's fine. But this is what I have to say. It is very important.
She's not
Going.
alone. She's
She's not alone. Good. Going forward, it is very important that you watch the videos. Try to gain understanding from the videos. And if you don't understand the lesson itself, you will be able to do the analysis, you see. And so I did the given circumstances and background story so that you will be able to see how to go about it. So as you are looking at the time is divided into 3. Okay, looking even on the play itself, it tells you when the play was written. So you know the time of composition. And then the time of action, when is it set? When is it set? Sometimes the time of composition is the same as the time of action. If the play was composed in the 19th century, it means that the playwright is actually writing about that particular time. And so you can easily find some of these elements. And then the dramatic time. Sometimes the play itself tells you the span. And in Mother Courage, you saw that it was over the 30-year war, right?
Yeah.
It tells you the dramatic time, and it tells you when you see the time of composition. Everything is there. So it is
Dr.
about
Rosario.
you. Hello.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Who is speaking now?
Okay.
I don't know why
this
these
is
days the name is okay. Yeah, Papa call, right?
yeah. So Ebenezer, yes, Thompson.
Thompson. Okay.
Yeah. So
Talk to
I
me.
personally felt what's this play? Mother Courage and Her Children. I felt it to be a bit alienating. I doing a doll's house was simpler for my group. At least I'm speaking from my group's perspective. But this play felt
Sure.
it felt sort of alienating. It was sort of hard to relate to and follow. It could be because
Good.
I don't know, maybe I personally am not too conversant with the theme of war and all that is going on. And I'd also like to ask if there's any particular reason.
Oh yeah.
Yes,
Did
if
you
there's
watch? Yeah.
Sorry.
Did you watch? Did you watch the video on plot?
Yes, I've watched the video on plot.
Great. Did you realize that I put Mother Courage under episodic plot?
Yes. Okay, I have 10 more minutes in the video. I won't lie. I'm 20 minutes in.
Okay, so I mean that's the part. It is towards the latter part that I actually discuss Mother Courage and Her Children as an episodic plot. An episodic plot, and I like the fact that you see a clear difference between A Doll's House in terms of its progression and how you can easily relate to it, and Mother Courage. And it is exactly because of the plot structure. The plot structure is episodic, so it is not tight, it's not causal. It's not tightly linked as a narrative plot that depends on each other in order to build the narrative, like A Doll's House. A Doll's House, you have a clear beginning, you have inciting incidents, you have middle, you have complications here and there, it reaches the climax. You are following the story in a linear format, so you're able to understand it. When somebody is telling you a story and the person starts from the middle and then jumps to the end and then comes back to the beginning, it gets very confusing. You cannot really understand it. But when you look at Mother Courage, you see various episodes. So there are 12 episodes. That is minus the prologue. So the episodes are the various scenes, and you can see that those scenes have been numbered 1, 2, 3, like that, following the life of Mother Courage and her children through the 30-year war. And so it is not a clear narrative that actually situates Mother Courage from the beginning of her life, and then maybe war has struck, and how she navigates the war like that in a closely knit formation. No, this one, each episode can stand on its own, you see. So it makes it difficult for you to clearly follow like you did with A Doll's House. So that, I think, is a very good observation you have made, Thompson, because it shows you, or it actually tells me that you clearly see a difference between plots. Mother Courage, it begins with her interaction with the recruitment officers and her children. She had all 3 children right at the beginning. And then as it progresses, one is recruited, and then another is recruited, and then she's just left with Catherine. And in each of these episodes, you realize that each scene does not depend on the one that came before it. No, it is not like A Doll's House. A Doll's House, if you were to take the conversation between Nora and Mrs. Linden out of it, you losing everything and you will not understand, because certain revelations were made during that conversation that is necessary for your continual understanding of the plot. But with Mother Courage, it is not like that. I could actually pick the scene of the capitulation, for instance. Did you come across the scene of the capitulation where the young soldier goes to the captain to complain, said he's going to kill the captain for what he has done, and that he's taking all the loot and leaving them hanging? And then there was an older soldier who was restraining him, telling him it is no use, don't go and do it, you don't have any power. And Mother Courage had also come there to complain about her own issues, about what the soldiers did to her cart. And she also advised herself not to go and do anything about it, and they leave. Now, this scene stands on its own. The same with the scene where Catherine saved a baby from a bombardment. That talks about the fact that even though the peasants were Catholics, they were also affected. And it tells you about the horrors of war, that when they throw the bomb, they don't care whether you belong on our side or the enemy side. It hits everybody. So you see clearly that each of the 12 episodes stand on their own. And if you have watched my description and discussion of the episodic plot, you will see clearly in how Mother Courage exemplifies the episodic plot. Each episode stands on its own, but then each of them is linked by a bigger theme. That is the theme of war, because she progresses. In the very first scene, we see her discussing selling belts to soldiers. And then right there and then, Alif is recruited. While she was trying to sell the belt, Alif, her son, is recruited into the war. And so war is here. And then when she tries to sell the capon, that is the cock, to the cook, you clearly see that it is within a war environment, because it shows clearly that there is no food and food has become expensive. The little meat she's selling to the cook, she's charging a lot of money. And then she hears that her son had been able to kill some peasants to take all their livestock. It is all within the space of war. And then the scene where she and the cook went to beg a particular parish for food. That was where the cook had inherited an inn and says that they should go together and all that. You see, they are all disjointed, but you see Mother Courage running through all of it, that particular character running through all of it and connecting the scenes through her presence and then the presence of war. So in episodic plots, even though each of the episodes can stand on their own and they are not dependent on each other to progress and make sense, they are still linked by a common theme and sometimes a common character, as you can see in the case of Mother Courage and her children. And so if you are discussing the social context, it is definitely war. And what kind of economic situation? You clearly see a system of survival where everybody is trying to profit from the war one way or the other. Especially you see how Mother Courage is constantly trying, she even wants the war to go on forever because she sees it as her source of livelihood. And the chaplain calls her the hyena of the battlefield. And then you see how some of the one soldier came to sell some bullets to her in order to get money from it, and trying to find all kinds of ways to profit from the war. You see how Yvette Portier, the prostitute, also tries to profit from the war by marrying an old soldier and, I mean, inheriting something to also survive. Everybody is trying to profit from the war. And so you see the theme of war as profit, war as business, running through it all. And you see Mother Courage moving across the various periods. And at the beginning of each episode, you see clearly that they have stated the date in which this is happening. And so you get to understand the dramatic time. Right from the beginning, we know that he used the 30-year war that happened somewhere in the 17th century as context in order to comment on the Second World War of the 1930s. You see? So it is very important that you understand how that particular plot influences your understanding of the play. Thompson.
Yes, Dr. Ashika.
Does it make sense?
I think so.
You should go back to the video or finish it. You said you have a few minutes to go.
Yes,
finish
10
it,
minutes more.
and then now relook at the, even I have even taken the liberty of touching on a few of the given circumstances in the play. Even as I was just discussing plot because I was using that play to demonstrate plot. And I have also, because we have done A Doll's House already, I decided to use A Doll's House to demonstrate the plot progression of a linear plot so that you understand it. And so don't isolate the videos from what you are doing. What I have asked you to do, I touch on it in the videos to guide your understanding of how you should go about it. So don't say that, oh, okay, I'm reading the play, and then I'll later come and watch the videos. It is good for you to watch the lessons, even as you read the plays, so that you get a better understanding. All I'm asking you to do is just do given circumstances for each of the plays we are doing. I'm not telling you to discuss plots right now. I just want you to get conversant with teasing out given circumstances from a play because it helps you to understand the world of the play. When you get comfortable with that, through the other videos I have done on plot, character, and theme, you will get to know how to link all of these things. And ultimately, the goal is for you to be able to write an essay based on what you feel is at the heart of the play, so that you can use the given circumstances to demonstrate your point, you see. But then it's a step-by-step process. I wouldn't want you to get overwhelmed by everything. And that is why for each of the assignments you are doing, it is just for you to discuss, identify what the playwright, the context the playwright is trying to put forth, the time in which he wrote the play, the time he set the play in, and then the dramatic time that extends across the play, the entire play. Like in A Doll's House, it's just 3 consecutive days. And in Mother Courage, we know it extends across 30 years. And we see each of these dates written right at the beginning of each episode. And then also you get to look at whether people believe in the spiritual within the context of the play. And you can see clearly in Mother Courage, for instance, that there is a certain notion that the war is a religious war. But it also shows a certain level of manipulation, that religion is used to manipulate people into doing what certain other people want them to do. And so you can see it in what the chaplain said to Mother Courage about his gift of persuasion, to be able to get the soldiers so charged that they don't care losing their lives to fight the war. They don't care killing others to fight the war. And people have lost in the war through the processes. You see how religion is treated with a certain level of suspicion, that it is being used as a weapon to immobilize or mobilize the masses to do the bidding of certain groups of people. And you can see it ultimately in the theme of Mother Courage, because war as business only benefits those who started it, those who stand to profit from it. Like somebody who is into guns, who instigates war in certain areas just so that he can sell his guns. Now, in that particular war, it is only that person who will benefit from the war, because that person is sitting somewhere far. And the person will sell the guns to those who are engaged in the war, and they kill each other. But he will be sitting somewhere profiting. And there's that illusion that those who are involved are profiting. But in the end, they do not profit. And you can see it in Mother Courage's situation. From the beginning, the play started with all her 3 children. But in the end, she walks off to join the soldiers with her wagon, single-handedly pulling it. She didn't have anybody. Yet she's still living under the illusion that she's profiting from the war. But when you look at it, has she profited from the war? She ended up worse than she began. But she still has that illusion that she's profiting. But those who are really profiting from the war are not on the battlefield. They are sitting somewhere else and selling and allowing people to die for them, doing their bidding, manipulating them using religion, telling them that, oh, it's a religious war. Let's fight for the king. It is a religious war. But really, is it? Which religion would want people to die, to fight for a cause that they do not understand? So all of these things come together to help you understand the play. So I want you throughout the semester to really focus, and the given circumstances, it is not just that is why it's a group work. Each of you brings an understanding to it. Hey, in terms of the social context or the relationships between the characters, I see a mother-child relationship in terms of Mother Courage, Catherine, Mother Courage, Alif, and all that. And then you can go further to discuss the kind of relationship that exists, especially in relation to the times. Because you see, normally when we talk about motherhood, there's a certain sense in which we see sacrifice, mothers sacrificing for their children and all that. But there are certain situations in Mother Courage where you see her denying any knowledge of her child. And then he's taken off and killed. And even under the threats of her child being killed, she was there haggling. She was there trying to negotiate a price, thinking about her own life and that of the other child, Catherine. And through that, they lost even the opportunity to further negotiate, and he's killed. And so you explore these social contexts that have been created within the setting of the war in terms of the relationship that exists between Mother Courage, the soldiers, Mother Courage, Yvette, and all that. And then you look at the social standards. Now, in this sense, war throws away all kinds of virtues. War creates a society on its head. It turns everything upside down. And you can see how Alif is hailed for his bravery. What is the bravery? Killing peasants and taking their cattle. Is that bravery really? But he was hailed. He was promoted. He became the captain's favorite boy for doing that. And when things returned to normal, even if for a brief moment, because peace lasted just for a few days, during that time, Alif was arrested and killed for doing the same thing he did during the times of war. You see, so the given circumstances, when you do understand the various elements, you will be able to find them in any play. You will be able to find them. And when you bring them all together, it helps you to understand the world of the play and the world that the characters operate within. And this is the very first step towards play analysis. Because when you understand the context and the world of the characters, then it helps you to also understand their actions within that context. Ordinarily, one would say Mother Courage is heartless in a normal society, in normal times. You say she's very heartless. Why hasn't she done everything for her children? Why didn't she say that this is my son? Why didn't she just give the 200 guilders to the informants to release him rather than thinking about her own survival? Why didn't she do that? But in times of war, when you understand that the context is war and everything is turned on its head, then you'll be able to understand her. It makes sense, the kind of decisions she makes. It makes sense. Okay. Do you all understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
ma'am.
Great. So, Barbara, I want you to go back to the video I did on given circumstances and then just understand the given circumstances. When you do, now try to tease them out from any play you come into contact with. Sometimes, of course, the play might not tell you when it is set, but you can also find out in terms of when the playwright wrote it. You will be able to see, oh, the times, okay? Sometimes it is clearly stated in the play. Most of the time, everything, the given circumstances are within the play itself, and you will find them. And so by finding them and writing about them and discussing them as a group. Because sometimes you will write about, say, spirituality in the context of the play, and then another member of the group might say, I don't think this represents spiritual belief, right? And then you discuss it and then come to an agreement. Oh, I see. Maybe this is what we will put forth as a group. It is a group work for a reason. I could have said that each of you should go and do given circumstances and submit it. But I am trying to foster a certain collaborative learning amongst you. And each of you is responsible for contribution. So don't think it is one person's responsibility to do it. You can share it. Why don't you look at time? These two people look at time across all three levels. These two people look at society across social ranking, social standards. And then you look at the economic situation in terms of transactions. What do the characters do to earn a living? How does that affect them? Do they have more money, or the lack of money is actually causing them to make certain decisions? And then why don't you look at learning and the arts? Now, in Mother Courage, clearly there's nothing about learning and the arts. You can actually see that more like the normal social processes have crumbled, and you don't see people going to school. We don't talk about Alif and Swiss cheese and Catherine ever being in school. It's like everybody is recruited into the military. When the recruitment officer saw Alif, it was like, he's old enough to be in the military, and Mother Courage seems to think he's just a teenager. And he was telling him that he recruited when he was just 16 or 17, thereabouts. And so you can see clearly that there is no formal education as you would find in a normal functioning society within the world of the play. And you can also see that there, even though there is no formal education, you can see a lot of wisdom coming from Mother Courage and coming from the old military officer old soldier who told the young soldier not to go and complain or not to go and attack his officer. Natasha Brown, your hand is up. Natasha.
Yes, madam. Please, I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I think I was a bit confused with the learning and the arts, because I thought the songs that come in between the play was a part of, let's say, the arts, learning and the arts, because the songs were kind of like an advice, or like it was projecting a particular idea in the play. So I was thinking, yes, it was under the learning and the arts.
That's a very good observation. That's a very good observation, because there are, when you look at it, Brecht uses a certain strategy called epic theater. His kind of theater is called epic theater because it is theater that fosters learning, theater that seeks to not only appeal to audiences in a way that makes them passive, but then in a way that causes them to take action. And so his kind of theater is actually instructional. And so that explains the songs you see. The songs are incidental songs that comment on the actions and further cements the theme. But in certain aspects also, the songs alienate you. The songs are supposed to make you not feel in that context. And so when for instance, sometimes if there is a funeral or somebody has died, they could sing a lullaby rather than a dirge, as you can see in the final scene. As you can see in the final scene, when Catherine died, and Mother Courage put her on her lap and singing a lullaby
Yes.
to her. But what you have observed is very valid. It's very valid. And it's even between Mother Courage and Aleph, where she raised a song, and he raise the song? No, she raised the song, and then Aleph responded to the song. So songs are part of the arts, but you can see clearly that it is not more like promoted. It is not promoted as something that is positive. Characters do not engage with it as in trying to validate the importance of the arts, for instance. And so in discussing it, you can talk about it in terms of the arts being used as a dramatic tool within the play itself. Natasha, does it make sense?
Yes, please.
As a dramatic tool within the play itself, rather than having somebody in a play who is interested in becoming a poet or a dancer, and there's more like a societal rejection on the part of those around that person, which shows a lack of appreciation for the art, or there's support for the person who wants to do music or dance, and then it shows that there are certain characters who are supporting that person to pursue that venture. And so you can discuss it in both ways. And so in this particular case, you see the arts being used as a dramatic tool because the characters engage in songs that comment on actions in relation to the theme. So in discussing learning and the arts, you can look at the arts as incidental or as tools used for dramatic effects and to foster an understanding of the theme, you see. And then in terms of learning, like I said before, there is no established institution because of the time. So normally we know, oh, okay, in a doll's house, Christine, Mrs. Linden, and Nora went to the same school. Dr. Rank went to school to study to become a doctor. Torvald tells us that whilst he was in school, he was mates with Krogstad. So it establishes a normal society where there is a particular institution, like you are in school right now. You see, this shows a normal functioning society where human beings are socialized into certain careers through institutions, through educational institutions. But in Mother Courage, you see rather that there is a certain kind of education that the war itself has taught the people involved. And so you see a lot of wisdom coming from Mother Courage.
Good morning.
You see a lot of wisdom. You see a lot of wisdom coming from the old soldier and so forth. So you can still talk about learning in that sense, rather than an established institution because of the context of war. Henry, if your microphone is on and you are not talking, mute yourself. Okay, Henry, I see your hand up.
Yes, madam. Please, I wanted to ask about the learning and then the arts, but it's like you've already explained it. So I'm okay. I wanted to ask if it is only formal education that you have to talk about.
It is just like the way, just look at our society. All the given circumstances are around you. So just look at your life. What time do you live in? It is 2021. And what month is this? It's April. When were you born? If you were born in the 1990s, there's a particular date, let's just say 1996. That should be more like your time of composition. That was when you were composed, right? And then you have, what do you call it? Your dramatic time. So it means that the time that runs through the course of your life. So if you were born in 1996, it means you have lived through 1997, 1998, 1999, up until this point, you see, and moving forward. And you have a social context you operate within. What is your social ranking? You are a student right now, but you can talk about the social ranking of your family. Are you a middle class family? Are you a working class family? Are you an upper class family? And in terms of the learning and the arts, you are here. You are in an educational institution. You can talk about the fact that, oh, I love music and I want to pursue music, or I love to act and all that. It all forms part of your education and growth. What economic situation or context do you live in? You live in a capitalist society where people work to earn money. People may own businesses and all that. Do your parents own businesses? Are they working for someone else? What kind of economic situation is your family in? You yourself, are you engaging in anything that is earning you money and all that? And then you can talk about the politics and law. What kind of political dispensation do we live in right now? It's a democratic dispensation, and we know that we operate by the rule of law. And we have the police, we have the judicial system that takes care of certain wrongdoings, that try to maintain law and order. And so, and I mean, Ghana is Africa in general, we are very religious. And so you can talk about the church, you can talk about the mosque, you can talk about your own religious practices or the traditional religion and all that on it. So what I'm saying is the given circumstances are the social context you live in as a person. Only you are teasing it out from the lives of the characters in this sense. And so if you think about it as something that affects you as well, that reflects your society, then you should be able to do given circumstances easily, because you will find them in your society. And playwrights observe their own society to create the context within which characters operate so that they are believable. Without these aspects, the characters will just be skeletons. They will be skeletons. You create characters with no relationships. You create characters with no boundaries, like there's no social context and structures that is influencing the way they live their lives. Then it doesn't make sense, because that's not how we live as human beings. And so it is basically the way we operate. So characters are created in the likeness of people so that they operate in a society or in an environment that is like us. That is what gives them life. That is what makes their lives full for us to understand them. Favor. I see a hand up from Favor.
Yes, madam. Good morning, madam.
Hello.
Hello, good morning, madam.
I can't hear you.
Please, can you hear me now?
I don't know if it's my headphones, but I can't hear you.
Oh, good.
Okay. Let me put it off.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I think it's my headphones.
Okay. Okay. Good morning, ma'am. So I want to ask, since it's a work and we all have to contribute towards the final work, it's a little difficult trying to explain each given circumstance without how do I say this? Without trespassing into the next one. It seems that most of them are kind of intertwined. So when you're talking about time, as you're talking about the time and place of the accent and trying to explain what the time calls for, why the accent, the characters are behaving in this, somehow you tend to you tend to move into the social context or the
yeah. It is okay. It is okay to do that after you have clearly it is okay to do that after you have clearly delineated each of the elements so that you can present it in form of discussion if that's what you want to do. But then when I say time, I mean time. When you write about the time of composition, you write about the time of action, say 19th century Europe, 19th century Norway, or just 19th century. You see, just state that. And then because when you have written the time of action, that is when it is set, and I come down to society, describing the kind of society it is, I should be able to make the connection between when it is set and that society. So whatever it is I am reading about the society, I can only relate it to that particular time you have stated up there, so that it doesn't become confusing. That's why under these headings, just stick to the headings. And it is okay if even after you have clearly delineated it, when discussing, say, social standards, you talk about in the 19th century Norway, so and so are the social standards that exist there. It is okay to do that favor. Okay?
Damn, I get you.
Yeah. Thompson, did you forget to lower your hand or it is still up?
No, it's up again.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Let's hear
so
you.
A few questions. Yeah, just a few questions. The first one is, do we get feedback on the previous assignments we've submitted? Because we may feel like, oh, we're doing something right. We feel good about the work we've submitted, but maybe we deviate from what you expect. So we can revise moving
get feedback.
forward.
You will. You will. I am still waiting. Not everybody has submitted. And I was wondering, please, if there's somebody who is listed as part of your group and the person does not contribute, do not include the person's name in your submission. This is very important. You have to act with integrity. Please, it all begins from here. Do not be very honest. Do not include somebody's name when the person has not contributed. It is very important. And it is only those who are engaged actively in the analysis process who come away with a lot of knowledge. And it will help you moving forward. So please, don't think you can hide behind others and just move along. You should ask yourself at the end of this program, what skills would I have built in myself to help me in my career endeavors? These things you are learning are not just for play. They are not just even for artistic reasons. They build critical skills that you can use out there. You can make a career out of just reviewing plays or films. And these processes you are going through will help you be able to do that. Now with social media and all that, you can build an online business with writing. So please, don't take it lightly. And in order for you to be very effective in your group work, you should share the responsibility. 2 people can take one topic like that and share all the 7. sometimes you may have 3 people working on one. Maybe there's a certain aspect that is more chunkier than the others. And so just share it. And when you share it, there should be that one group leader who will collate everything. During the group discussions, each person or each pair will discuss their various assigned areas. And then now one person can put it all together when you agree on what has been written. And then you can move forward. When it is put together, you know, oh, it's a collective effort. I think I received an email from somebody. What's her name? Ifwa Mensa, are you here?
Yes, madam.
Ifwa Mensa, you sent me an email saying that Group 10 will not be able to submit the assignment. Which one is it?
Madam, please, is Mother Courage and her children?
Oh, I see. Because I received another assignment from Kofi Baako from Group 10. So I was wondering if it is the same assignment you were talking about. But you're talking about Mother Courage. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you all need extensions?
Yes, please. We'll
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
We surely do.
Yes, please. Yes, we are begging you in the name of God. We are
Yes,
begging you.
yes, ma.
Yes, madam. We need extension.
Ma.
Okay,
Yes,
you don't have to
ma,
cry
yes,
about
ma.
it.
We need one, yes, ma.
You don't have to cry about it. Okay, so let's see. The deadline is supposed to be when?
4 p.m. today.
4
4 p.m. today, madam.
Yes,
oh,
we are.
I see why the email came. Okay.
Yes.
So how about Monday?
Yes.
Thank you, but thank you very much.
Thank you, madam.
Perfect.
God bless you.
God bless you very much.
Okay, so I'll go to the assignment and extend.
Thank you.
I'll go and extend the deadline to Monday, 4 p.m. so that you can submit on Sakai. But I want you to be very active in your learning. When you don't understand something, don't just keep going. Seek help. Seek help. Send questions. My TA is there. He's constantly monitoring the question side. If there's anything that I need to elaborate on, I will do it. But note that each of the topics I have put on the course outline, I try to teach it extensively in the videos. So you better engage with the videos very well so that if there are any gaps that have not been addressed in the videos, then and only then do you send those questions. Do not send the questions when you haven't even watched the videos to know whether the question you have has been addressed already. Okay. So make sure.
Last question.
Thompson, is your hand up again?
Yes,
Okay.
so I said I had a few. The second one you've addressed, that was the extending the deadline.
Okay.
And then the third one, I want to ask, is there any particular reason why we do not discuss African plays?
It is for next semester.
So we'll do an analysis and interpretation 3.
Oh yes, next semester.
Oh, okay.
It's a 2-part course, so it's a year-long course. You do this semester and then 3. So this semester is dedicated to European plays, and I mean, I have a Japanese play. I have a Japanese play as part of it, and then American play, which is the Glass Menagerie, and so I have 2 American plays, and 2 European plays, and then there's or is it 3 European plays? 3 European plays, 2 American plays, and then 1 Japanese play, so that it gives you a broader overview of plays other than African. But then in the next semester, we are doing only African plays. Okay, so you will get a richer view of plays in general.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, welcome. Joshua. Hello, Joshua. Good morning. What's your question?
Hello, madam.
Yes, Joshua, I can hear you. Joshua, it's a bit difficult to hear you. Can you type your question in the chat? Because I can't hear you. Okay. Okay, Joshua.
Yes, please.
I can hear you now. Why don't you speak?
Okay, I want to find out from about the learning and the art. You made mention of formal education about it, and one of my group members asked. Natasha asked about the fact that she had we all yes. So I had wanted to find out that are we supposed to expatiate on for the fact that the mother carriage is not more or less like it doesn't have a formal education background. So are we expected to expatiate on that fact?
Yes.
And then
yes.
now link.
Yes.
Okay. So
you should.
But
you
we
should. You should.
Okay,
but you see, there are various ways of learning. There are various ways of learning. So if there's no formal education, you should talk about why, because it's a war context. And then talk about the various ways that characters demonstrate wisdom and knowledge about their situation.
Okay, madam. So I had wanted to find out, are we like, can we still maintain what Natasha, asked about?
Oh, yes, you can. I made it clear.
Sure.
I made it clear in my response to her that you can. It's a very good way to look at it. Okay. So
Sure.
you should maintain it.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Thank you.
Tinabel.
Yes, madam.
Yes. What's your question?
Okay. And please, I wanted to know whether the dramatic time was 12 years.
I didn't hear that part. I think it just went off.
30 years period. Please, can you?
Tinabel, can you repeat the question?
Please, I wanted to find out whether the dramatic time was 12 years or the whole 30 years period of the war.
It expanded the whole 30-year period, because somewhere they state the date and then they will say 3 years later, and then at another time they would state a different date. So it is structured such that the various episodes span the entire 30-year period.
So please, does it mean that the war ended in 1936?
No. You see, the 30-year period, Brecht uses a technique called historicization or historification. And that kind of technique, when something is happening in the 1930s, it was written in 1939, that is during the Second World War. Even though he is commenting about the war in the 1930s, he has used a historical war which lasted 30 years to comment on the current war happening within his time, which is the 1930s. So don't look at the time in terms of when it was written, but look at the time in terms of when the, what do you call it? The various dates that were stated for each of the episodes. Okay?
Okay, yes, please, thank
So
you.
it's the various
But
dates.
under the
All the dates are there. You see?
yes, but under the cast list, it says 1624 to 1636, and that's 12 years.
Under where?
For the time. The cast list in the play.
The cast list.
Yes.
But did you also read the, what do you call it? The preceding write-up that talks about the fact that it was set during the 30-year war, right?
Yes.
And so you see Mother Courage coming from another time and then beginning and continuing.
Okay,
The
so
prologue,
could it be that, could it be that the play was set within a specific part of the 30-year period and not the entire period?
Exactly. So if you, I think when you pick the specific dates and you calculate them, you should be able to see the exact period. But then the impression is that Mother Courage has been dragging the cart for the past so let's just, if the specific plot time in terms of the engagement across the various episodes lasted, say, 12 years, let's just say that then it means that she has been roaming for 18 years before we encountered her. So you should look at it in that sense, where, okay, it was stated that it was set during the 30-year period. And so when you calculate the various times from the time we met her, the first scene, when was it? Was it 1620? And then they said
1624.
1634, good. And then how many years later in the next scene? How many years later in the next scene? And then keep calculating. And then when you add it all up, whatever you have, then we can settle on that as the dramatic time. So that the one that came before, we can say it is more like the bigger time within which Mother Courage worked. And so it can get confusing, especially when you look at the preceding instruction that, or the stage direction that talks about the fact that it was set within the 30-year war in the 17th century. It can give the impression that it happened over the course of 30 years. But it is good that you are drawing attention to this fact that when you calculate it, it's actually not up to 30 years. But the prologue tells us that Mother Courage was coming from somewhere and she was dragging the cart. And from the look of it, it wasn't normal times, it was still war. So she was coming from somewhere and she entered that particular year. But then she has been through other years of the war. So we should look at it in this sense. Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes, madam.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't see any more hands up, but I'm going to go back to what I was saying before. In order for you all to benefit from this course, it is important that you play your part, that you collaborate and work together. There's something I would want you to do, and then I think it is best for you to start thinking about it now, even though I don't want you to engage with it because you are reading the plays and you are giving circumstances and all that. But I want you to think about each of the plays you read personally. What do you think? Just don't think about what others have said about the play, what I have said about the play, what anybody else has said about the play. You personally, what do you think is most interesting about the play? And if you were to write something on it, how would you go about it? Or what would you want to say about it? Because this is where we are all headed. In addition to, discussing given circumstances and knowing it, a play will touch you in a certain way. You may think that, oh, okay, I think this issue is very pertinent. Everybody else is talking about this particular character in this way, but I don't see that character in that way. And so I am going to set out to do an analysis to justify this point of view. Or I don't think the theme is this. I think the theme is actually this, because I believe all the characters did one thing or the other that points to this particular idea. And so when you think about each of these plays in this sense, you are able to develop interest in terms of doing a full analysis on the particular play. And that would actually help you in the end, because at the end of all of this, you will have to demonstrate your ability to analyze. So it is very important that as you are going, you are thinking, as you are reading, something that strikes you, something that touches you in a different way, something that you feel you are drawn towards within that particular play. Note it down, come up with a topic and find evidence within the play. Just put it away so that you begin to write something. And I would want to guide you to be able to develop, say, a 5-paragraph persuasive essay about an idea you want to develop, or what you want to say about the particular play, or what you have identified that is worth talking about from your perspective in a particular play. So as you are reading the plays, keep this at the back of your mind and think about it and write a few things down. And then later you can come back to it, develop it into an essay, because you will be required to. This is analysis. You'll be required to do a full analysis moving forward. So you should keep each of these at the back of your minds. All right. So I don't see any more hands. If there aren't any more questions, I would like to end our interactions here. But I would like to also remind you that the questions button is there at the forum. You can always write any other questions you have, and then we'll respond to them. Okay.
Sorry.
Thompson, is that you?
Yeah, that's me again. Sorry for the
okay,
question.
Sure.
I was with regards to the forum discussion, I found the second one on Mother Courage and her children a bit confusing and off, like relating the episodes or the each series to the, I think, the greater theme,
which is war. Yeah.
Yes. Wait, so I'm confused. Are we like
Did you, Thompson, you haven't finished watching the discussion of the episodic plot? Because
no.
I have given you a diagram of how the episodic plot looks like. So each episode is linked at the center by a theme. And so when you look at each episode of Mother Courage, you will see war in there and consequences of war in it. And so the question is in relation to how the specific plot plays out in the play. Because if we say episodic plots are actually a series of episodes linked together by a common theme or one character that you can find across all the episodes, then clearly you should be able to see it in Mother Courage. So you don't necessarily have to you don't necessarily have to outline all the themes, but then if you, all the episodes, you can just pick 3 episodes. Let's just say the very first scene is the first episode. How does it relate to the theme of war? The next episode is, say, the sale of the capon. How does it relate to the theme of war? And then the third episode could be where Catherine saves a baby. How does it relate to the theme of war? So you can see each of these episodes standing on their own, but then they are connected by a common character or common characters in certain themes, in certain, because from the very beginning, you see that Aleph and Swiss Cheese leave Mother Courage earlier than Catherine. Catherine left in the last scene. And Mother Courage is only absent in one scene, in one of the episodes, which is scene 11. So if episodic plot is made up of a series of episodes connected by either the same characters or one character, but then mainly by a theme, how does it play out in Mother Courage and Her Children? How do you see it in Mother Courage and Her Children? Does that make sense?
Yes,
Thompson?
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
This makes much more sense.
Yes. So that's, and please, some of you, I don't think you are
Madam,
reading. Some of you
Madam,
are
please
not
come
reading
again.
the questions. Somebody wants further clarification. Who?
Yeah, the last part, please come again. You said the last part. Yes.
Oh
Yes,
yes, I was saying that you need to be able to find how the plot of Mother Courage actually is episodic, especially when you watch the video and you understand what episodic plot is. That is a series of episodes connected by a common theme or a character or both. How does it play out in Mother Courage and Her Children? So you can illustrate by just summarizing, talking about, in the scene between Mother Courage and the cook, for instance, she's there negotiating the sale of the capon, which is a cock, and she's giving him cutthroat prices because it is war and things are scarce. So she can afford to do that, right? And then in the scene between the cook and Mother Courage at the parish where they were begging for food, it talks about the effects of war. Everybody, it was winter, everybody has lost everything. There's nothing to even eat. It still extends the theme. Even though that episode can stand on its own, it is linked by characters that we can clearly identify as coming from the previous scene. But then each scene is on its own. It can stand on its own. In this scene, the cook receives a letter that he has inherited an inn somewhere. And so he wants Mother Courage to come with him. But he doesn't want her to bring Catherine along because she is disfigured and she's dumb. And Mother Courage saw that Catherine had heard and she was about to run away, and she assures her that she will not leave her behind. And then they remove the cook's clothes, pour it on the floor, and they leave together. It begins and ends right there. And the next scene, Mother Courage and Catherine are passing by a peasant's cottage where they could hear the peasants singing a song talking about shelter and how good it is to feel warmth. And you can see feeling warm and having a place to live is normal, but not in times of war. So the theme of war is still moving across. It's a very short scene. They practically not do anything. They just walk by, stop, listen to the music. And this is what Natasha was saying before about how the music contributes to an understanding of the theme, you see. So Al Hassan, It just means that when you watch the video and understand what episodic plot is, just respond to the discussion and tell me how you see that playing out in Mother Courage and Her Children. Okay?
Yes, please, I get it now. Thank you very much.
Great. All right. So I think I was saying something before. I wanted to say something. I started saying something and now it has escaped me. But you can still use the questions button. I am recording this. This is recorded. This is recorded. So I'm going to put it on your Sakai. Is someone saying something? Hello? Okay. So I was saying that this is recorded.
Yeah, you were saying something, but it's network. It's network.
Oh, okay. But this is recorded, so you can always go back to it and listen to my explanations and all that. I mean, that's the beauty of all of this. It's not like a face-to-face lecture where I finish and I'm off. This one, there's documentation. You can always look at it, okay? So if you have, my TA is David Agri. Yes, he has responded. So if you have, he's on your WhatsApp platform, but the most productive place to put your questions is actually on the, what do you call it? The Sakai forum page, and also watch the videos. Watch the videos. The videos will help you to understand, and you have to watch it multiple times at your own convenience. You have to watch it multiple times in order to get what it is I'm saying. And after that, after you are very satisfied that you have actually watched and listened, and there are still questions, then you can pose them. And we will continue to have such interactions. But you know, as we have met today, we are not meeting next week, because you are supposed to focus to engage with each other and do group work, and also have the time to read the plays. And so as we have met today and taking stock of your questions on both plays, I will upload the video on 6 characters in search of an author in relation to character, so that you can, I mean, after you do your assignment on 6 characters, we can now do another live interaction like this in the following week, so that I get all your questions and comments on what you have learned on that particular video. Okay. So if there aren't any more questions, I'll just end the lecture right now and upload this video on Sakai, so that you can go back to it and engage with it. It's been nice talking to all of you today. I hope to see you soon, and I also hope to engage
Madam,
with you.
yeah, it's been nice talking to you.
I've just remembered what I wanted to say before. I've just remembered it.
Okay, we are listening.
I saw certain responses to forum questions I was not happy about. It's as if the people did not read the question. They just went ahead and wrote what they thought about the play and moved on. That's not it. You have to look at the question and respond to it appropriately. So if I ask you about plot, don't just tell me, oh, the play is about this, that, and you end it. No, it wouldn't cut it. And you know, forum, your engagement with forum fetches you 20 marks. So don't joke with it. And don't go on the internet and download things people have said about the play and put it up there. It's not going to help you either. I appreciate honest voices. When I read your response to a particular play and it is honestly coming from you, and I sense your confusion in it all, it is very productive. It helps me to know how to teach you better. And it helps you to become a better student and also to understand it better. So who are you cheating when you go and download some lofty explanations to the play. And I see it even in some of your group work. I haven't gone through all of it to give you all the feedback, but you will get the feedback. Some of you, clearly from the English, the way the expressions come, look, when you plagiarize, when you cheat, when you pick things people have written from the internet and you bring them to me, I see it. And there's a very easy way for me to find out. I have a plagiarism software. I just put it through it, and where you picked it up pops up. And when I catch that, you will get 0. I won't consider it. Because you are here to learn. You're trying to tell me that you know already. Who are you cheating? Be honest, follow what you are being taught and replicate it so that you can understand and build the skill that you can take out there. That skill will remain with you forever. But when you go copy and paste, what have you learned? How to copy and paste? How is that going to help you? So please, if you have started on that foot, stop it. And it is even going to affect you already, because when I begin to look at it to give you the feedback, it is very tedious work, but I pride myself with doing just that so that I can help you be better. So if you go and copy and paste, then at the end of the day, you realize that you have 0. And that is why it's a group work. Whatever you earn, honestly, you earn it for the whole group. If you cheat to put it there, it affects the whole group. And so you have to all be active. All of you must be able to read what is being forwarded so that you know, hey, this accurately represents our voices. So that somebody doesn't go and pick something from the internet and submit it. And then when you get the 0, it applies to all of you. Please, I'm very serious about this. Don't joke with it for your own good. All right. So, like I was saying before, on a more lighter note, it's been really great engaging with you and knowing that you are working. And the questions you are asking were very productive questions. And I'm happy that you have started on a very good note. Keep it up. Keep working very hard. And I know that you benefit from the whole process if you keep up the way you have started. All right. So I'll see you in 2 weeks, but then I'll see you on Sakai. I hope to see you often on Sakai, engaging with the forum discussions and commenting on each other's comments. It all helps, okay? And you are free to disagree with somebody's comments as well, but do it kindly, okay?
Okay, Doc.
All right. So I'll see you soon. Have a very blessed day.
Thank you. You as well.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Love you too.
Bye.
Love